A ritual performed to revive a person due to a defect in the ritual. Lost souls come and expose him to the risk of possession and imprisoning their souls in hell. At the beginning of the story, I see a group of people performing some rituals on his dead body in an old palace called the Infinity Center. They are trying to summon a spirit to enter this body, and suddenly the body moves. The old lady asks the rest to continue the ritual, and suddenly the body sits on a table to purify everyone. The lady places her hand on the head. The touch makes her lie down again, and she asks, ask the team to close the door, and when you come back, you ask. The lady of everyone does not open the doors. The front one is from Holland, and I informed them that it was a defect. Everything seemed to be under control when they are going to hear a scary sound, and right that it is. The lady was possessed. After a while, they noticed that there is no electricity in the house and even no mobile phones in reception. I love to greet the lady in the room. They tell him that she did not see anything disturbing to her. The degree is in her life, and she asks Sawyer who the body is. He tells her that they have no idea about her. Suddenly, the electricity comes back on, and someone knocks on the door. And after they hear his voice, they notice that he is all of them. They are terrified and ask where the lady is, and they take balls with him. They reported that something had happened with the lady during that time. The ritual and DG enters the room, and he is afraid. When he sees the woman, he knows that she is possessed. He asks who he is and what he wants, but she frowns at him, and I start reciting incantations, the thing that causes misses. Justin faints, and they enter together. The room and Doshi ask Greet to remove it, present threats. He told them that his master was possessed by a lost spirit. I left her for now, but she is still wandering inside this home and trying to be alone with him. Don't see the body out of curiosity, but suddenly she moves and then becomes terrified. She tells Deitch that she heard her son calling her name. He tells her that she is imagining things again. A second, and suddenly he noticed that the spirit was trying. She takes possession of Abby, and everyone is afraid. Then she becomes ashamed. The spirit is completely on her, and she starts moving. He went towards him and started asking her who she was and how she got in. She attacks and tries to get rid of him. Then they throw him away. There is something on her, so she falls on the ground, and he finds it. An opportunity to cast some spells and return the soul from it. She then tells him that she left on time. Currently, you will go back until you find a second body. Then you start laughing together in a strange way, and everyone, he was worried, but it turned out she was joking. When the team noticed this, they started strangling her, but then they noticed that she was actually possessed. The team throws Laura and stands on the ball. A whole lot later, I felt possessed and blind. He tells them not to frown with their father, and they begin to pray. And they recite some spells on him until he is able to. They took control of together after a while. They were able to. He expelled the spirit from her and then sang about her with their news. He believes that she is the spirits of the forest. The night wanderer haunts the area, and he is the one who follows. The lady was telling her to wake him up by mistake. They are walking around inside this house, Uncle. They try to attack one after another and keep asking one of the team, why should they end their lives? He says that they were preparing their bodies to welcome another soul trying to enter here. He tells him that he is now feeling curious regarding this body. Who is it for, and why was it? The lady is determined to revive him, and he will come closer to see this body face. But the team prevents him from getting up with this thing because the ritual was not completed, and if they disabled it, something worse could happen next. They are trying to protect their position until it returns. Any soul can make its way by force. Yet one of them asks why he didn't come home last night. She asked if he was together, so he tells her that together she will be like his daughter. Someone left from there, and only one of the team woke up. In the middle of the night, she notices that she is not there. On the sofa, on the other hand, we see a person. He is doing some rituals, heating his knife and putting it down on his neck, and the team is searching for it. When you notice a mark on the ground, you follow this trail, but then you hear the door opening. It opens on the other side, and we see someone's feet. Behind the curtain, they see the team standing together at the entrance. They ask her to enter, but together she smiles and looks at her and says that she is her mother, here to see her team and try to get her in just because she's hungry. Zoya! She starts screaming and suddenly becomes possessed, and she starts moving towards her in a frightening way. You become very afraid that someone will attack you from behind. At this time, one of them is trying to kill. The lady sees one of them and attacks. They ask why he did this thing. Bran comes at the right time and drops and asks. He asked him to leave with the news that he was trying to kill him. The lady starts asking him why he did this. During this time, the lady stopped. The possessed woman saw him and her mother. So he tried Al-Shabilis with her that he will free her. But the spirit says he wanted her body. Then he would see one of the team is together with the possessed woman and the ghost and is tired. Many times he sees them and realizes that it is the ghost. The second is balls, after which Zoe says it. He was hungry and he was trying to run away, but there were balls. By stopping him, Herat enabled Gibran to get out of this situation. The room after that, I noticed it happened too. She was possessed and told him that they would all die. Then I heard someone screaming, so I started to hide from there. She starts to go down the stairs in a very strange way. We see Fikret attacking the young man, but before he could to get rid of him, the guy hits him with his eye, and he's done. He and Ali sing together. Then they run away. He sees Breen's way and tells her that it is necessary. They leave here immediately, and he takes her by the hand. They walk, but then realize that he is the one holding him. Her hand is not Brain, and she attacks. Then I try. He expels the spirit from her, but because of darkness, it returns. We bring it inside the house, and the team brings it together. They go to the living room and ask him not entering. And then I notice that the young man has become. He is possessed and quickly turns to the door until the door closes. Before he closes, he joins and receives news from Kondak that he is in 3 lives. She is betraying them, and the souls of the father and mother have been imprisoned, and the boy. But she will try to break into her to be with him. Her son tells the team that they are strong spirits, so much so that she took possession of the lady afterwards. Suddenly, the souls begin to pull together, and you feel like they are. She is very afraid, and they try to calm her down, and she notices he's already possessed and wants to leave a ditch. Cautious, she took it all together and tried to get rid of him, but before she could hurt him, he suddenly started. He emerges from the smoke, and we see Brienne standing behind him with the amulet. She drops Soy on the ground and starts. She screams and asks her mother for help. After a while, she lost consciousness, but then she became ashamed. The soul is upon her, and her body is filled with rain and becomes a ditch. He recites spells until the spirit comes out of them. Suddenly, the soul itself begins to read its spells and interactions. Do not see this thing. Then she started moving toward them and saying something. He reached it a second time, and he became very upset and annoyed after that. Suddenly, everything calms down, but in reality, it is. We enjoyed a knife, and it said something strange and then moved away. On Crow and tells her that they are together and asks her. The assistant becomes a crocodile, feels sorry for her, and bites her neck. But it turns out that the spirit deceived her before she could. As soon as you treat her, she will fall asleep again and become her mother. She remembers her childhood, and then they all feel sad for me. She died while her mother was in possession of her, and I was filled with rage, and she became angry. Ask the spirits that they come and take her body. She has nothing left to lose once the spirit enters. Inside, she is trying to get rid of herself, but the soul, you try to stop her, but she loses her temper and says, "This is a sacred dagger, and it will send them back to hell." Will the souls inside start killing each other? But it will end well once and for all. Then Brienne holds the amulet and raises her face. Trench, and you think that the spirit took control of his body only. He tries to explain to me that it's him and he doesn't have the soul, but it's her. She tells him that she doesn't trust anyone, and we'll see. In a flashback, the lady deceived Bryn until you gave her a drink and thought she would give birth. The lady hired his friend so he blackmailed her because the lady wanted her to. They break up, but I don't tell her the truth, and they decide that they find themselves in a trench and escape somewhere. She says that it is possible that he only really knew his body. He hid the truth from her, but he explained it to her because what? Does he have any idea what you're talking about? When Bryn is there, she will lift the cloth from the body. We see a snapshot from the past that the lady knew a ditch about Brain and that the fetus is not a god, but it's for the devil. He asks her why she hates Brienne. She tells him that she wants him to send the messenger for her, and for this reason, he cannot have a family alone. Kondak says he wants to live his own life. Then he leaves, and he goes out in his car, and we see that it is him. The handle was ruined on his car because of this thing. He gets into an accident and dies, and this is his body. It is actually a part, and the ritual was what followed. They do it at the beginning of the movie, but it is still alive, and while you see this thing, Breen is shocked. Here we discover that the spirit was telling Kondak that he is also a ghost, just like them. And he was actually the one he came there when the lady summoned him. But he was the same person that he did not know at this time that the mother's soul was angry. And she calls for her son. Yabrain uses this to get rid of her time, to realize that he is in the ditch. He loves her so much to the point that he came to her even after his death. The soul disappeared from there. But then it came. The lady goes downstairs, and the spirits come out. There, after some time, the lady says that they are fine, welcome, the worst is over, and the lady takes care on Bran, and then they all left the house. The movie ends, and the story ends here. If you like it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Bell.